Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day today, and if it's not going so great, I hope it gets better. Today we're going to be talking about the book Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. This book follows a Colombian family that migrate from Bogota to America, and we just follow their experience, their journey of being an immigrant, what it's like living in America. This book was so good. It was beautifully written. Every page I was invested. I wanted to know what would happen. We follow all their decisions they make and the way they have to live due to being undocumented. And this book I was very emotionally attached to because I come from a Hispanic culture. So I've heard stories of, people crossing the border or people the way they live because they're undocumented or families being separated. And they talk about this in the book too. Like they talk about DACA, like they briefly mention it. They talk about families being separated, people getting deported, the things people have to endure at work being undocumented. And you just follow their story, and there's 5 people in the family, but we follow 3 main point of views because we switch back and forth between point of views, but we mostly follow 3 of the characters, the 2 parents and the one of the children. And we go back and forth from the past of their life in Bogota, and we also follow the present, the current time of them living in America. And it's just so good. Some of these topics, it gets sad because I don't want to spoil anything, because I highly recommend this book and hope you end up reading this book, picking it up, going to your library and getting it. But sometimes it does get sad, and I found myself stop a few times just to reflect and think about what they're talking about and just the characters' thoughts. And the thing is, these characters, they have flaws. Like each of them have flaws, just like everybody, but they're not like little angel-like immigrants. I'm not saying they're criminals. I'm saying like they each go through, besides being an immigrant, which is already one of their biggest worries, they go through other things because of these flaws. I don't know how to explain. I don't want to give out too many things, but also the cover is really beautiful too. I mean, look at it. It's so pretty. This book is very rich in cultural rich. Don't know. you get what I'm trying to say, because I can't talk. So there's plenty of stories that are about, Colombian culture, stories about like myths. And these 3 animals each have a story of their own. And my personal favorite was this one. I think it was called El Condor. I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up. But it was one of my favorite. I'm like, that's a very interesting story. And the dad would talk about like stories about the gods and how the land came to be and stuff like that. But it was really good. There was this one thing that really stuck with me, because I've thought about this before, and just like other millions of people. So I'm gonna read a passage from the book. It doesn't give out any spoilers. It's just the thought one of the characters was having. So it says, "My life, like my sister's and my brother's, is a mishap, a side effect of our parents' botched geographical experiment. I often wonder if we are living the wrong life in the wrong country. If the reason I have felt so out of place is because I, like the narco animals, have no biological or ancestral memory of this strange North American landscape or its furious seasons. These mountains and rivers are not mine. I haven't yet figured out if by the place of my birth I was betrayed or I am the betrayer." And it's very interesting because you're an immigrant, you're born somewhere else and you're living somewhere else, you migrated. you don't, like, you live there and you grow up there, but you feel like that's not your land. Like, your land is back home where you were born. Like, that's your land. But at the same time, like, you grew up in America, and that is also like your land. So you're not sure if, like, what life you should be living. You're not sure where you were meant to be, if that makes sense. And in a way, is kind of like they experience racism, of course, and they experience, you know, where, like, have you ever seen that movie Crazy Rich Asians, where the girl is dating this rich boy and she's Chinese American because she lives in America, you know, and then she goes and visits the boyfriend's family in Singapore. So they go, and the mom's talking to the son, and the son's like, oh yeah, she's Chinese, and she says Chinese American. So the mom's not accepting his son's girlfriend as Chinese because she wasn't raised in China or like anywhere near Asia. She was in America, so they're not accepting her as Chinese. But then other times people wouldn't accept her as American because she's Chinese. You know what I mean? So that's what we experience here. Like, they born in Colombia, but they're in America, and they were raised in America, but at the same time, people are not accepting her because she's not American. But then if she were to go to Colombia, would people accept her as Colombian because she was raised in America? This book was really good. I highly recommend it, 5 out of 5. And if you're feeling like you're in a reading slump, I highly suggest you give this book a try. If you're just looking for a really short story, this book is only 190, I think, pages long, so if you just sit down all day and read it, you'll probably finish it. Or if you like to take your time, it's a very short book. It's very thin, but it's very beautiful. It's a beautiful story, and I find myself kind of almost tearing up in some of these, just in general, like the way some people live is just, it's difficult, you know. And so I have respect for immigrants out there, you know. They left their country to come live somewhere else. Like, that's hard. Like, just imagine. But I highly recommend it. So I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there.